now call the meeting of the Irvington Architecture Review Board to order. As is usually the case, we will start with continuations and move up the line into new matters, and we will go matters as they were received by the building department, which would be 1910, 1911, and 1912. So I don't see anybody here from the continuation, ARB 19-09, Cindy Lane. So we will put that off and call them again later. We will then, I need to make a notice that ARB 19-10, 18 Meadowbrook Road has been removed by the applicant from the agenda tonight. So we will then move on to ARB 19-11, 51 Osceola Avenue, solar panels.
Yes, hi. Chris Hale, representing Sun Blue Energy. We're the contractor installing the solar panels. 51. They're going to go on the back of the house. There's 23 solar panels, and there's trees in the back of the house. It's really hard to see the solar panels at all from the street. And we don't see them at all.
It does look like you have a nice amount of coverage. I drove up there. To the side, when the leaves aren't in the trees, the only house that might be impacted, I think, is the yellow one above it. Were they notified?
I'd have to check to see if they're...
Yeah.
I have no notices that anybody was notified. Before we move on, I see you have a photograph showing the actual placement code.
Yeah.
Is there a reason why that was left open?
Vent.
There's a vent in there?
Yeah.
Okay. In that case, because it's not symmetrical, in that case, either we want to remove the other two to make it symmetrical, or, take two from the corners just so it has a symmetrical shape.
It is symmetrical, is it?
It's got five rows on one side and 6 rows on the other.
Okay, so
It's a small issue, but
even if it's facing the backyard?
it doesn't, it's still not symmetrical. The other issue is you have a drawing here. You have a drawing here showing the way the elevations for the roof.
So the top of the solar panel, probably like 5.5 inches.
Well, how could that be if this is a 2x6 block?
I see.
Because our code specifically states the equipment must be mounted flush with the plane of the system parallel to the roof surface and shall not be mounted as close to the roof surface. Should be mounted as close to the roof surface as possible, but in no event shall be mounted more than 6 inches above the roof surface. It could be at least 8 inches.
Yeah, it's not a...
Just that the drawings. The symmetrical layout is not critical for me. I don't know how the rest of the board feels about it, but I know we have stuck to our symmetrics in the past, and I don't know whether or not that's where we want to go with this one, especially considering it's not seen really by anybody. I'm not going to argue about it.
Yeah, I don't think it's that bad either. I think it's a really nice house. And the way it's located. My only concern is really that you might want to just build one neighbor.
Okay. I'm looking for the symmetry because it's equal across the back.
What's that?
If you strip off the wall.
It's actually 2. Yeah. So it's 5, 6, right? You're talking about. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I thought you meant like around
Once again, I'm not really that concerned about it. I just, going by the letter of the law. If anybody else has any issues with it, I'll take it up. If not, then we'll just move on.
I think the array might look worse if you take it off, because then you're going to have a disproportionate amount of roof showing. So, and the roof is lighter than the solar, so I think it's all right.
Just notifying the neighbor's requirement.
Yes. There you go. One of them was not highlighted. Is there a reason for that? They weren't. They didn't respond. Okay. I'll see the one. I'll see the one.
I don't know which house it is, Rick. It's that large yellow house that I believe has a greenhouse that you see on your way to the country club. Yeah. I don't see it on the map here, but it's pretty obvious. It's the closest, well, it's the one that overhangs.
Which, I wanted to see which house do you think that would look like?
Well, I don't know,
I don't
just
know.
because it wasn't highlighted, it's not going over. This is just that they went to all these neighbors, and I don't know whether the highlight was to indicate that they responded or they didn't. That they have to.
They don't have to.
No. All right, looks like that's all in order. Correct. Okay, do we have anybody have any questions, concerns, issues? No. Do you have a motion to approve the application? That's not here, Deb's not here, so we need a so mover.
So moved.
Second? Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
Okay. She doesn't use that.
Okay. I believe the resident of Cindy Lane has shown up, and I will call that application, once again, application 19-09, 5 Cindy Lane. Yeah.
Hello again.
Hello again.
Catherine Medina from 5 Cindy Lane. So we would like to change the wooden fence that we currently have. It's completely rotten, which I have demonstrated the last time. Once again, we're only changing the wooden parts of the fence, not touching the metal parts or the stone columns that we have at the entrance. So last time I proposed to have all vinyl fence all over, even though it's wood grain color, but I understood that vinyl fences are not allowed on Broadway. So I did take a look at the neighbors' fences, and what I saw where the part of the fence facing Broadway were wood, and then the rest of the fence were vinyl. So I found literally next block from me, and I have the addresses there as well. So if you would like to take a look, but you probably know them.
We didn't approve them.
Is that not problem? Oh, I see. Well, regardless, so their vinyl parts of the fence are clearly visible, whereas in my case, the vinyl part of the fence would not be visible because my property and my fence is adjacent to the neighbor's property and fence. So the only parts of the fence, of my fence which is visible from Broadway is the one located on Broadway, and not anything else. I have provided the pictures last time of my property, but yes, you have them in your possession. So, and if you would like to see them again, basically, so what we would like to have is this portion of the fence we could have in wood, and then you can see the neighbor's fence is adjacent to our fence. So the rest of the fence surrounding our property will still like to do in vinyl because we have considered the prices. It's expensive, and it looks like the wood will be even more expensive because as the provider told me that the cedar is being provided from wood-torn countries, so it became very expensive. Plus, we would like to treat it the special way so that it would look nice. So then it becomes even more expensive than the most expensive vinyl. And it's just given the amount of money we have already spent on the fence, we and about to spend on a new one, we really do not believe we should be spending even more. So
what you're proposing is
it's
putting
to
natural
have a wood on Broadway
Right.
and then color match
and you
with
turn the corner.
probably
in terms of the vinyl.
rosewood with the rest of the fence, but it's not visible anyway.
So when you go into the backyard, it
Yeah,
turns into
also-
vinyl.
Yes, yes.
Um,
So that way.
so
Mhm.
you're doing cedar stained natural on Broadway.
Yes. It's already actually 2,000 more expensive than if we would have done it all in vinyl. So, but we have considered the local regulations and desires, so let's put it this way. And that's what we would like
I mean,
to
as
do.
much as I think it's the same, we understand that there's a benefit to the vinyl, and we obviously don't want to incur extra costs. It's just on the strip of Broadway, like natural or weathered materials will look so much better, just in keeping with everything. So like, I don't mind when you go in your backyard, going to something that you consider more maintenance friendly or is less visible to people. Like, that's personal opinion to everyone here, so
Sure.
I'd be.
Thank you.
This is the map.
This is wood.
Well, actually,
The iron fence, right?
this is, here is iron.
It's like iron at the
This point,
driveway.
at this
Right,
point,
it's like that.
Yeah, yeah. And then the rest of this would be. What I will have to do is, because these, this drawing shows, you know, one fence all the way here, I'm just gonna have to mark this up. If we decide to approve it, I'm gonna have to mark this up and show what's going to be wood and what's gonna be vinyl. And then I'll just need you to initial it. What is this, what you want to? Okay. Any questions from anybody?
Are any of the proposed vinyl fence, is that viewable from Cindy Lane?
From Cindy Lane?
It's pretty heavy cover on the,
Yeah,
One
maybe
corner.
just this tiny portion in the corner. So Broadway is there, and there is like a strip of land, and then we also have a trees and then drive across. So that tiny bit, but even there we have trees. So basically, pretty much nothing would be visible. And I don't have a fence in the front yard.
Iron fence.
Yeah, the only, but
That's
the
not- that's
iron
staying.
fence and the columns, the stone columns, those are visible from Broadway and Cindy Lane.
is there a fence in the backyard now?
Yes,
It's the same as the painted stuff that's.
yes, the same,
Got
yes.
it.
Okay. Anybody else? Okay. Would you just show it, mark on there where the stone fence stops, where the wood fence is, just put a line and a line, and then the rest will be obviously. I guess it starts there.
Yeah, no, it says it's approximately here,
And it goes to the very end.
yeah, to the very end.
That's right. No, that actually shows it there. So this is the metal fence in the book, the stone column. You might have a motion to approve as amended.
I'll motion to approve.
Second? Do I have a second? I will second. All in favor? Aye. All opposed?
Maybe.
All opposed?
Abstain.
Abstain.
Okay. It is not passed.
Anything you can do, I mean,
You can,
this fence is going to fall apart, I mean, it's going to look really bad for us and for everyone else. Because I mean, I don't have the piece of it with me right now, but it's completely rotten under the stain. We've been putting a lot of money to keep it together, and we had 4 different handsmen and woodworkers saying that it's going to be maintaining it, and the last woodworker actually told me that a portion of our fence would have ended up on Broadway with the strong wind that they had, because it's literally disconnecting from each other and literally falls apart.
Can I
And-
just ask you something?
Yes.
I remember your house, and I know the portion that you're doing and what you do see. In the back, how much tree cover is there?
We have lots of trees all over.
What about black chain link?
Huh? I'm sorry?
What about black chain link? You know, you
So
can
if
get,
it's not for, like wire,
if it's not aesthetic, you know, the vinyl, of course, is an environmental disaster, and it doesn't look very good, and I'm not sure what
So
Ken's
what-
feelings are about why he's abstaining, but it's,
in the backyard, is it more for privacy, keeping the
Is it
kids
for
out? Or
children,
is it to
animals?
just?
I mean, I have 3 little children. I mean, for everyone, I bought this house because it has very private backyard. Back down here, all twins, and I have 3 children. The twins are 6, and the younger one is 1 year old. I like sunbaths in my backyard. It's heavily used backyard, and we like our privacy.
Okay, you have the right to go to the village board, the board of trustees, and argue that you were not treated fairly, or you didn't receive the answer that you wanted, and state your case. You can ask for what they call findings of fact. So they'll ask us why we denied, and we will write them in 20 days what the reasons were for that. At that point, they'll make a decision whether or not we made the proper decision, or in fact, it should be overturned. You can do that. You can ask Ed tomorrow at the building department how to go about that. You have to actually write a letter to the village clerk, but he'll give you all an to go down that route. But at this point, the matter was voted 2-1 and 2 for, 1 against, and 2 abstentions. So it doesn't pass on its merit.
look at the black chain link. You know, we had an executive home, we had wood in the front, we had a pool, we had children. The black chain link disappears.
I don't like the chain links. Looks like jail to me. I never did like it.
Well,
Right now I have a
See
privacy
if you
fence.
see it
I want to
somewhere.
have a privacy fence. I bought the house with a privacy fence. I wouldn't have bought it otherwise. For us, it was essential.
So there's not enough greenery to block the neighbors, is that the problem?
Well, the trees are kind of tall. They don't have enough leaves or fur, on the bottom of them.
You have canopy, but you don't have low cover.
Right.
Like it's not like.
Thank you.
No, that's what I'm trying to ask you, yeah.
Okay. And last but not least, we have application 19-12, 99 Bracebridge Lane addition.
John Malone, Ferguson Malone Architecture, representing Gordon and Tracy, Gary Talbot. This project is for an addition to a house that I think most people in Irvington are familiar with. It's right along the aqueduct. It was a house that was built sort of a mid-century house that was built potentially on, we think there was a brick portion that may have superseded, or that was earlier, like an earlier portion of the house. And also on the same property as the we've been in front of you for already.
So this is not part of that?
It's a separate application. So the positioning of the addition was based on the way that the site is zoned. It's a very difficult site for a few reasons. Just wanted to go over that quickly. So the aqueduct, it's a very long, thin site. The aqueduct is along this side. the aqueduct has a 30-foot buffer setback. So this whole portion of the property you can't add to. So you see the existing house here, more than 2/3 of the house is in that setback. So it limited the position that we could put the house on to this side. So we ended up with this design that included a wing. And I think the other thing to take into account is there's a lot of grade, and the property in general struggles with parking and drop-off and access to the house relative. So there's a parking area in front of the barn. There's long access to the house from that barn. And what we were trying to do is just make the possibility that you could pull in front of this door and access the house on this side. So what's happening here is it's really you're entering here on the second story and walking downstairs to the first story. Just briefly, we can go through the floor plans. Some of the things that we were trying to correct in the existing house was right now there's a small code minimum spiral staircase. That's the only way to access the second floor. So what we've added in this area is a stair tower that sort of replaces that stair with, it's not a giant stair, but at least it's 3 feet
The
wide.
area where the staircase was?
The staircase was actually in this
Okay.
little entry area here, so we've moved it. The addition really encompasses on this level a staircase and a bathroom powder room. And so this office space could be potentially used as a guest bedroom. And then on the second level, it's basically a master suite, bathroom and stair. So really that's the only change that's happening. Right now, the existing building had 3 bedrooms with a shared bathroom above. So this is trying to get it, it's not a master suite with a walk-in closet, but it's trying to get a little bit of a separate master suite condition. The approach to the design of the house is that we're basically extending the language of the existing house into the addition to the most sense, and then we're adding this vertical element at the corner where the stair is. So this is a roof plan showing how this corner where the wing and the house come together really is defined. The detailing and the height of everything is defined based on turning that corner. And then here, this tower is sort of allowing us to resolve the other ends of the existing house.
It's a metal roof, John?
It's a metal roof. The metal roof is actually planned to match the barn. And then the language of the house, again, because we're keeping so much of the house, we're keeping the exterior language approximately the same. So here are our proposed elevations. So basically from here over, the house is the same as what you're seeing, and so as you're approaching the house from the south, the change is this tower. Again, the way that is positioned on the site, it's relatively set back. It's not going to be as prominent from the aqueduct. It'll be more prominent from the other side. And again, on the north, as you approach from the north on the aqueduct, this is the building that you see now. We've made some modifications to the window, kitchen. And then this you see is this wing that's projecting out on the side here. The language of that wing is, again, going to be very similar to the language of the existing house. And then this is the facade that the aqueduct people won't be able to see. I keep talking about the aqueduct because there is no street frontage on the house. So this is the approach, sort of the driveway approach, where we have the tower, and this is the master bedroom facade. So here, you're entering at the second level and dropping down. The finishes throughout are the vertical cedar siding. We're trying to do sort of an open, clear story here. There's areas where we have panels in a few places that are sort of within the window assembly. So we have glass, but the framing, and there's actually a solid panel here, which will be an AZAC panel. I think there's a few other places just here in the door, just to sort of clarify those openings. Other than that, the change to the existing roof is uninsulated. It's it's not Doug fir, but it is like an early pine. Oh my God, I'm spacing on it. No, it's a structural. Garage.
Deck.
It's a structural structural decking. Thank you. It's a structural deck, but it was uninsulated, completely uninsulated. So on the existing house, we are adding 4 inches of rigid and plywood and re-roofing that house. So there will be a thickening of the roof plane on the edge for that. And then on the proposed house, we're doing a 10-inch stud, which will be insulated with bat insulation, and then the same rigid insulation above, because the roof on the new house has to be R49, has to be a very high insulated value. So that's how we're trying to match the language of the two. Other than that, there's a pipe associated with the boiler, which will just be a stainless pipe. It's in a position where I don't think it's
Now exterior will be interior?
Yeah. So it'll be a 10-inch pipe. Right now there's a 12-inch exterior. It doesn't need to be that, so it'll be reduced.
The windows?
The windows are going to be a Marvin Infinity, which is a like a PVC window. They're intended to be painted. They're really intended to be like a wood window, a painted wood window. They're a little more cost effective than Marvin, and they're never rot. So we're not using a standard color on those. They come in the standard color, like a gray and a white, but they're going to be painted. So we're using them like a primer.
You have no issue with the difference in windows on certain sides?
So what we're doing is basically for what's in front of you now is we're showing the windows as proposed. Some of the window changes that we had to do when we upgrade the windows, we have to make an egress window. So that changed the language that we were doing in some of these windows compared to what was shown on the existing on the other side. There is potential not shown in this application to upgrade the existing windows if we can afford it and budget, and if we do, we'll come back to you with that.
So, I'm sorry. What are you putting on the foundation wall that will face the aqueduct?
The foundation wall, this piece here is a parged concrete foundation right now. There is a bit of brick detail on the house, but again, both aesthetically and for budget reasons, the client didn't want to repeat the brick. So we have this brick wall that faces the aqueduct here, and there's brick under. Basically, this whole little piece is painted brick, and that's going to remain painted brick.
Not that we can speak to this, but the colors are matching.
The colors we're not sure exactly what color we're in. We're not matching the barn. I think we're headed probably for a lighter color for the house and some distinction between the two. One of the things we have talked about, though, is we're not going to do a trim and a body color that's wildly different. They're going to be sort of monochromatic, which is similar to what's there. Like, more of a modern idiom. We're not going to try to tradition it out or anything like that.
So it's tone on tone.
Tone.
So you're getting rid of the red, or you don't know yet?
That's where we are right now. We're talking about an off-white. The problem is our client is a painter.
I know. I know that. Remember when you're.
No, it's not a problem. He's a painter, so there's some discussion to have about.
We haven't had the argument yet. So it's probably going to be a basic whitish kind of off-white
Just remember how
light,
much green you have when it starts growing.
and it has to work with the red of the barn. So
Yeah.
That's an artist painter, not a house painter.
We know from the last number.
So I'm sure it'll be beautiful.
So what's just the third floor of the stair towers, just to, where you get the water view?
The third floor of the stair tower is actually going to act as a little green. I don't know if you've noticed, but Don and Tracy do a lot of gardening, so it's actually going to be a seed germination area. So there's a system of trays that we're designing to try to fit in there.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
Anybody else? Ted? No, you good? Good.
You are?
The only thing I'd be intrigued about is colors, honestly. I don't have any major comment.
I mean, now if you guys have opinions on colors, he's right here. You can go at it now.
I would personally stay away
What are
from
you
white.
gonna do? I know,
Stay away from
scale
white.
gray maybe.
I would go towards
It's
gray.
hard with the red, right?
I'm in that camp.
So, yeah, well.
So that pretty much states how it's gonna go.
Yes.
Samples, keep painting sides.
Okay, any other questions, concerns? We have a motion to approve. So moved. Second,
Second.
all in favor?
Thank you, guys.
Yeah, on Earth Day, you take it all back.
You guys actually, I was told that you don't want it this way.
We're getting to that point. We're trying to get to that point.
That's where it's improved.
He claims,
Yeah, so it's nice to hear that word.
He lands one of them.
No, it's
I like that.
scheduled
Next.
with planning.
Right.
Because then, in order to do it any different, we'd have to go down once a month.
Right.
And that would, you know, right now, we're so slow that it's not an issue, but, you know, we had nights where we had 23, applications, that would just probably balloon to 30, 35, so.
Right.
Other than that.
Nobody wants you guys to get after 30.
Were we not moving on to this? Yes, yes, the Meadowbrook Road, 221.
Yeah.
I don't know why they.
We-
They pulled the application, and maybe look at it even more, or less, I don't know, it's just.
Take it one year.
What they work for that.
Just in terms of like,
My,
I actually think white probably sounds nice, it's not as cliche. I do color for people. I'm sitting here like trying to wrap my head around it, and I'm sure you have good vision.
Well, maybe beige, white.
I think we're all gonna wait for you guys to
Please,
Yeah, sorry.
No.
Thank you.
Okay, on a housekeeping note, I would just like to, thank Deb for her years of service. I know she's staying on as as our second alternate, but I just don't want to, have her absence go unnoticed because we will miss her for sure. And to welcome James as a regular member of the Architecture Review Board. And once again, thank Randy for sitting in when he can. At this point, I have nothing else. Anybody have anything to discuss? Do I have a motion to adjourn? So moved. I'm sorry. Did you have anything to add there? Nothing?
No, just glad that we had such an easy transition for a new member.
Yeah.
Take over for Deb.
Well, it's nice when you just do that
Yeah.
instead of somebody new coming in and, trying to learn the ropes, so to speak. But, yeah.
Try not to, get a summer house somewhere, so.
Well, listen.
You really want to do that for ARB, James?
It's the reason you're sitting there, so. All right. I guess we're adjourned. Thank you guys.